going south over the Bitterroot Mountains. I mean to tell you, these are mountains, the kind that remind a person, no matter how old they are, that they are infinitely young to the earth. These mountains are edged and scalloped like gigantic kin to the arrowheads my little brother Davy, God rest his tiny soul, unearthed in Palo Duro Canyon when we were small. I had lived 72 years in the Texas Panhandle, and mountains are not a geological feature you will find in that country. The land is as flat can be, level with what is level in the constitution and spirit of the people who walk it. We plains folk are a grounded people, and rarely see a mountain. But having seen what I have now seen of them, when I say these were mountains, you would be right to believe me. I was then 54 years married to Mr. Waldrip. We lived in a little brick ranch house in the orbital shade of a municipal water tower that serviced the some 2,000 thirsty souls in Clarendon. Only the day before we had locked up the front door and had taken the truck to the airport in Amarillo, where we had then flown, with a quick stop in Denver, to Missoula on a jet airplane. We did not often venture far from our little house, and this was to be the first trip we had taken in a good long while. We had spent the first night of it under a full moon in the Big Sky Motel off I-90, an establishment with damp carpets and laminate wood. Mr. Waldrip was not a poor man, but neither was he an extravagant man. I had come to terms with this early on in our marriage. Mr. Waldrip hesitated half a second on the subject of rain gauges until he took the opportunity to ask how long we were planning to stay in Montana. "Just a few days," Mr. Waldrip said. "Our pastor and his wife had the best time up here. Figured we'd get ourselves a cabin, do some fishing, and kick back. But we sure need to get back this coming Thursday." "Mr. Waldrip likes to pretend he is not retired," I said. Terry looked back. "What kind of work did you do, sir?" "I bought a cattle ranch in '45. We sold it a year ago, September." "Well, I bet you two will have a great time up here," Terry said. "We're counting on it," Mr. Waldrip said, and he pulled the cuticle from his thumb. A point of blood rose on the nail, and he staunched it on his blue jeans. Doing Mr. Waldrip's laundry, you might come across several pairs of blue jeans peppered with blood like that. If you did not know him, you could mistake him for a fighting man. For the only physical altercation I ever recall him having was with a mean old possum that had got itself snagged on a nail under our porch. Mr. Waldrip had a small ways of fidgeting. I suppose it was the result of his mind always being a few steps ahead of the rest of him, quick as he was, and it made him nervous trying to catch up. "Did you work Mrs. Waldrip?" Terry asked. I had taught English in elementary school and was the librarian for 44 years, and I told him so. "I retired 2 years ago," I said. "Now we only got time for relaxing," said Mr. Waldrip, patting my knee. "Any kids?" Terry said. "Never did get around to it," Mr. Waldrip said. I turned back to my little window. The blue sky and the pane gave back my reflection. It reminded me of the oval portrait of my great-grandmother June Polyander, which had hung over her bed until she passed away in her 90s. I fixed my hair. I wore it like many of the ladies at First Methodist. Permed up, we called it. When I was a young woman, it had been the color of love grass in winter, and I had worn it longer then. It started going gray in my 40s. The grayer and whiter it went, the more Mr. Waldrip said, I looked like a dandelion going to seed. I have never been a great beauty. My nose is too much like a man's to earn that appellation, but I have always done my best to be presentable. A spiky-haired woman named Lucille Carver came to church often as not, looking like she had been fired there out of a cannon. I never could understand why she would let herself out of the house like that. I had always supposed it had to do with disrespect for worship and a disregard for femininity, but now I am not so sure. That warm Sunday in August, I wore a pleated